An old man leads a group of young guys to fight a final boss. Will they succeed? And what kind of adventures will they face along the way? Joseph Joestar, who's living in England, is urgently called to Japan by his daughter Holly because his grandson, Jotaro Kujo, is in trouble. To Holly, Jotaro has always been a well-behaved and thoughtful child, with a smile that melts people's hearts. He's been a proud son who respects his elders and works hard in school. But as he grew older, Jotaro became taller and stronger, and fighting became one of his specialties. Whenever he encountered a teacher who was all talk and no substance, he had no problem putting them in their place. When it came to bad restaurants, refusing to pay the bill had become second nature. This personality stayed with him until he awakened his stand at the age of 17. Even though his stand was obedient, Jotaro didn't fully understand his new power. To avoid accidentally hurting innocent people, he locked himself in jail. His mother was frantic with worry, and his grandfather Joseph came to help, bringing the stand user Abdel with him to force Jotaro out using his powers. Although Abdel's fire-based stand briefly suppressed Jotaro, he quickly turned the tables, using water from the prison toilet to fight back. Realizing he couldn't beat Jotaro, Abdel turned to Joseph and said, "I've already brought your grandson out." But, in truth, he was actually intimidated by Jotaro's overwhelming strength. The group later went to a cafe, and after hearing Joseph's explanation, Jotaro finally understood the concept of a stand. Then, Joseph used a mental photograph to reveal the true face of the enemy threatening their family, Dio Brando. Over 100 years ago, Dio had stolen the body of one of the Joestar ancestors, which was why he bore the same star-shaped birthmark as the Joestar family. He was the terrifying enemy destined to clash with the Joestar bloodline. Despite learning all of this, Jotaro didn't worry too much at first. He just wanted to finish his high school life in peace until Dio sent a killer, Kakyoin, to cause trouble. It was then that Jotaro began to realize the gravity of the situation. Fortunately, his nearly invincible stand, Star Platinum, helped him quickly deal with the problem. Jotaro brought Kakyoin back to his place, only to find that Kakyoin's brain had been taken over by Dio's flesh bud. Using Star Platinum's precision and the ripple abilities of his grandfather Joseph, Jotaro successfully removed the flesh bud and turned Kakyoin into an ally. However, Jotaro's mother was gravely ill due to Dio's influence. After Joseph analyzed a photograph, Jotaro, using the high accuracy of Star Platinum, discovered a fly hidden in the picture. Further investigation revealed that the fly had come from Egypt. In order to save his mother, Jotaro decided to join the mission to defeat Dio in Egypt. After some calculations, they realized they had only 50 days to defeat Dio and save Mrs. Joestar. The team decided to take a plane to Egypt, but along the way, they were ambushed by enemies, and the pilots were all killed. After dealing with the attackers, they had to make an emergency landing on the sea and find another way to continue their journey. Eventually, they made it to Hong Kong and prepared to travel by sea to Egypt. While dining there, they met Polnareff. After a brief fight, Abdel defeated Polnareff but was moved by his knightly spirit, prompting Jotaro to remove the flesh bud from him. Polnareff, seeking revenge for his sister, joined the team, and they headed to Singapore. Along the way, a stowaway named and got into a fight with the crew and, in a fit of anger, jumped into the sea, trying to swim away on her own. But this area was known for having sharks, and luckily, Jotaro called out Star Platinum, who punched away a shark that was getting too close, and rescued her. During the struggle, Jotaro accidentally brushed against her chest and realized and was actually a girl, and, embarrassed and angry, wanted to strike back, but Jotaro didn't give her the chance. Just as they were about to return to the ship, a superfast stand suddenly attacked from beneath the water. In the nick of time, Kakyoin's Hierophant Green pulled them back to the deck. After confirming that and wasn't an enemy, the fake captain came over. Not only did he snatch Jotaro's cigarette, but he also used Jotaro's hat as an ashtray. Jotaro, playing it cool, joked that stand users' noses would start twitching when they smelled smoke. Just as he suspected, the captain fell for it, revealing his true identity. It turned out the real captain had already been taken out. With his cover blown, the fake captain immediately grabbed in and tried to jump overboard with her. But in midair, Star Platinum, with its unbelievable power and speed, pummeled him senseless. Although Jotaro and Kakyoin saved him, Jotaro got dragged into the sea by the fake captain's stand, Dark Blue Moon. The fake captain tried to trap Jotaro by creating a whirlpool, but Jotaro's stand, Star Platinum, used its star finger from a distance to finish him off with a single strike. But just when they thought they were safe, the crafty fake captain had planted a bomb on the ship, forcing everyone to jump into lifeboats in a hurry. Not long after, a massive ferry passed by. They boarded it, only to find the cockpit completely empty, yet all the systems were running automatically. Soon, the regular crew members were killed by some mysterious force. Wylan was taking a bath. She sensed a disturbing gaze and looked up to find a gorilla staring at her with a creepy grin. Jotaro, noticing that this wasn't just any gorilla, this one could read magazines and even open its own cage, rushed to stop it. It turned out the gorilla's stand controlled the entire ship. During the battle, Jotaro found himself at a disadvantage, with his teammates trapped on the deck. In a critical moment, Jotaro used a button to provoke the gorilla. When the gorilla reached for the button to attack, Jotaro shot it back using Star Platinum's Starfinger, smashing the gorilla's face open. With the gorilla weakened and its mind in chaos, Jotaro took the chance to break free and finally knocked it out. The ship shrank back to its original size, and the group drifted to Singapore. While the others went to the hotel to rest, Jotaro went out alone and ran into another stand user. This guy was disguised as Kakyoin, but his every move was full of menace. Jotaro quickly realized something was off. He almost got pushed off a building, but when he saw the guy's disgusting way of eating cherries, he immediately knew it was a fake. The real, elegant Kakyoin would never act like that. The two of them started fighting inside a cable car. The enemy was using Yellow Temperance, a tricky stand that could corrode objects. Jotaro decided to make a quick escape, but after his lighter didn't work to burn the enemy, he grabbed a kid's ice cream and tried freezing him with it. No luck. truck. The enemy stuck to him like glue. Thinking fast, Jotaro realized that since he couldn't deal with the stand itself, he would have to go after the user. He smashed the cable car, pulling the enemy down into the water with him. The enemy had to stop using his stand to breathe, and Jotaro took the chance to beat him up. As the guy begged for mercy, he revealed a clue. The murderer of Polnareff's sister had 2 right hands. But Yellow Temperance wasn't done yet. It attacked again through the sewer, but Jotaro's powerful Star Platinum took care of it once more. After defeating the enemy, the team headed for India. On the train, Jotaro saw someone eating cherries again, but this time, it was the real Kakyoin. While resting at an inn in India, Polnareff came face to face with his sister's killer. With Kakyoin's help, Polnareff got his revenge, but Abdul was severely injured in the process. To let Abdul rest and avoid further attacks, the group decided to spread the fake news that Abdul had died. Once everything was settled, they continued their journey and ran into an again. This time, a red car intentionally cut them off, causing their car to almost crash into a truck. In the nick of time, Jotaro's Star Platinum smashed the truck, saving them from disaster. Without hesitation, Jotaro shouted, "Run!" At a tea shop, they saw the red car again. Jotaro suggested they take out everyone in the shop to find the driver. Sure enough, the real driver appeared from a distance, starting the car and mocking them. Of course, they couldn't let that slide, so they gave chase. When they reached the edge of a cliff, the red car suddenly disappeared only to slam into them from behind, trying to push their car off the cliff. Thankfully, Star Platinum and Kakyoin's Hierophant Green worked together perfectly and pulled the car off the cliff instead. Just when they thought the fight was over, the red car came back from underground. It was actually a stand called Wheel of Fortune. It could shoot high-pressure gasoline attacks and even climb vertical surfaces. During the battle, Jotaro got set on fire and was engulfed in flames. Just when it seemed like he was done for, he emerged from underground, revealing that only his jacket had burned. He charged at the enemy, used Star Platinum to defeat it, and even took control of the car with the bizarre power, continuing the journey. With his clothes burned off, Jotaro had a new suit custom made in Pakistan, identical to his old one, all wool and expensive, but the Joestar family wasn't hurting for cash. Afterward, he said goodbye to Anne. Now, all he cared about was saving his mother, who was in critical condition. The group arrived at a strange, foggy town where the residents acted oddly. An old woman named Enya led them to a hotel. When they were registering, Jotaro stayed cautious and wrote a fake name, Q Taru. Later that night, Enya ambushed Polnareff, locked him in a bathroom, and forced him to lick the toilet. Jotaro sensed something was wrong and rushed over. During their conversation, Enya accidentally revealed Jotaro's real name, exposing her plan. She summoned her mist-like stand, Justice, to attack, but Jotaro's Star Platinum inhaled the mist with a single breath, causing her to suffocate and fall unconscious. The illusion of the town vanished, and it turned out they were actually in a graveyard. While everyone was distracted, the mysterious whole horse made a quick getaway in his car. The group had no choice but to grab a horse-drawn carriage and continue on with the unconscious Enya. Along the way, Enya was killed by a parasitic stand, Lover, and its user, the cocky Adan, showed up, claiming no one had the guts to fight him. Jotaro threw a punch, but Joseph collapsed instead. Turns out Lover could invade the brain and redirect damage onto its host. Jotaro instantly understood the enemy's ability. Adan then used this power to further humiliate Jotaro. He stole his wallet, made him his stepping stone, had him punched for stealing jewels, and even slapped him. Jotaro endured it all for his grandfather's sake, silently remembering everything that happened. It wasn't until Kakyoin defeated Lover that Jotaro finally got his turn with Adan. He gave the guy a serious boxing lesson and left with a cool receipt for his trouble. Joseph upgraded to a luxury car, but once they reached the desert, they switched to a camel caravan. In the desert, they ran into a stand user who could create a sun, making the heat unbearable. Jotaro had no choice but to have Star Platinum dig a temporary shelter. Just as they were about to die from thirst, Kakyoin, Jotaro, and Polnareff suddenly burst into laughter, freaking Joseph out. It turned out the fat Arab stand user had been hiding behind a mirror, stalking them, but the shadow of a rock in the mirror was out of place, exposing him. Jotaro threw a stone to knock him out, and the crisis was averted. Under Joseph's leadership, they reached a small island in the Red Sea to meet up with the now-healed Abdul. The group put on an amazing performance, convincing Polnareff that the man there was Abdul's father. Polnareff believed it and, feeling guilty, left alone, but ran into an ambush from a stand user. At the critical moment, Abdul showed up to save him. Turns out, it was all part of Joseph's plan to let Abdul recover in peace while secretly arranging for a submarine to help them get to Egypt. But soon after, they were attacked by the stand, the High Priestess, inside the submarine. She knocked Joseph out and damaged the sub. After Jotaro finished a call with his grandmother, they waited for Joseph to wake up before quickly donning their diving suits and preparing to evacuate. The High Priestess chased them relentlessly, turning into a giant rock at the bottom of the sea, waiting to ambush them. Jotaro was thrown into her sharp teeth by her tongue, but she underestimated the power of Star Platinum. With one punch, Jotaro shattered her diamond-hard teeth, severely injuring her. The group finally made it to the shore and safely arrived in Egypt. Meanwhile, a Boston Terrier named Iggy, with the stand the Fool, was sent to join them by the SPW organization. While traveling through the desert, they were attacked by the stand user Endal, and Kakyoin nearly lost his sight. To protect his teammates, Jotaro stepped up to draw fire and used Iggy's stand to glide and observe the situation, but he got shot down. In a panic, Jotaro threw Iggy at the enemy to create chaos, quickly closed the gap, and defeated Endal. He thought they might finally get information about Dio's location, but Endal chose to take his own life rather than reveal anything. Jotaro buried him in a simple grave, respecting his loyalty. Later, Iggy, seeking revenge, used chewing gum to mess with Jotaro, but Jotaro just let it slide. Since Kakyoin needed time to recover, they checked him into a hospital. During this time, two stand users, Oingo and Boingo, disguised themselves as Jotaro to try and ambush the group. Their plan ended up in a series of funny mishaps, and by the time they left, Joseph and the others had no idea they were Dio's henchmen. While searching for Dio's whereabouts, Polnareff was controlled by a cursed sword, the Anubis blade. It could predict Star Platinum's movements, putting Jotaro in a tough fight. In the end, Jotaro used his body to trap the sword, allowing Star Platinum to break it with sheer force. The cursed blade sank to the bottom of the river, waiting to rust away. Meanwhile, Joseph and Abdul were battling Mariah, while Jotaro and Polnareff faced off against Alessi, the user of the set stand. Jotaro was turned into a child, but his fierce personality remained, and he managed to defeat his opponent with a series of childlike punches. The group met up at a bar, where they encountered the stand user J.RB. He challenged them to a gamble with Dio's information on the line. Polnareff and Joseph lost, and their souls were taken by J.RB's stand, Osiris. When it was Jotaro's turn, despite J.RB cheating at every turn, Jotaro used his incredible mental strength and presence to exploit J.RB's fear of Dio. He managed to play his awful hand into a winning one, scaring J.RB into unconsciousness and rescuing the stolen souls. Unfortunately, the knocked out Darby couldn't provide any useful info. While the group anxiously searched for Dio's hideout, Iggy, at the cost of one of his legs, managed to find Dio's mansion. He returned to the team with a recovered Kakyoin, and they all headed out together. Inside Dio's mansion, Jotaro, Joseph, and Kakyoin fell into a trap set by young T.RB's game. Kakyoin lost in a racing game, and his soul was taken by the Atom Stand. Then, in a baseball game, Jotaro, initially unfamiliar with the game, adapted and forced T.RB to use his mind-reading ability. Jotaro saw through his strategy and, with Joseph's help, used a mix of mental tactics and a bit of cheating to break T.RB. In the end, Jotaro gave young T.RB a full-body massage, leaving him feeling great. Meanwhile, Abdul, Iggy, and Polnareff faced intense battles on their side. Abdul and Iggy sacrificed themselves to protect Polnareff, who fought to the death and ultimately defeated the stand user Vanilla Ice. The two groups reunited and faced the final boss, Dio. Dio's stand power was strange and powerful, and as dusk approached, the group decided to retreat temporarily, but Dio was determined to wipe them out. During their retreat, Kakyoin sacrificed his life to figure out that Dio's stand, the world, had the ability to stop time. Joseph, nearly dying, managed to pass the information to Jotaro before being severely injured by Dio's throwing knives. Witnessing his friends fall one by one, Jotaro's fighting spirit was completely ignited. He confronted Dio head-on. At first, their stands clashed, with Jotaro pretending to leave an opening, getting Star Platinum hit in the process. Jotaro took the chance to plant a magnet on Dio's bracelet. As Star Platinum adapted to Dio's time stop, Jotaro surprised Dio by moving in frozen time, which Dio mistakenly thought was due to the magnet's effect. Dio moved in for a close-range attack, only to get injured by Star Platinum's brief bursts of movement. Dio fell into a shop, where he used his vampiric powers to heal, then switched to throwing knives for a long-range assault. Dio used time stop again, throwing a barrage of knives at Jotaro. Jotaro blocked the critical hits with a book hidden in his jacket and pretended to be dead by halting his heartbeat. When Dio got close for the finishing blow, Polnareff tried to attack Dio, but failed and was injured in return. As Dio went in for another strike, Jotaro exploded with rage, landing a punch that went straight through Dio's head. Injured, Dio tried to use time stop to escape, but Jotaro stopped him with a throwing knife. Dio attempted to flee down a sewer, but Jotaro followed and knocked him away. The impact sent Dio flying right next to Joseph. After sucking Joseph's blood, Dio fully merged with Jonathan's body, boosting his power dramatically. Jotaro was completely overpowered, even getting run over by Dio using a steamroller on the bridge. In a desperate situation, Star Platinum unlocked its time stop ability and turned the tables, dealing the final blow to Dio. As Dio, dying, attempted a last-ditch blood-based ambush, he was shattered during the final showdown between the world and Star Platinum. After the victory, Jotaro used Dio's blood to revive Joseph and used his own stand's power to bring him back to consciousness. A revived Joseph tried to scare Jotaro by pretending to be Dio, but as soon as Star Platinum appeared, he quickly backed down. As the sun rose, Jotaro and Joseph destroyed Dio's remains under the sunlight, and Holly also recovered at home. At the airport, the grandfather and grandson bid farewell to Polnareff. No one knew if it would be the last time they saw each other. So, did an old man leading a bunch of young guys to fight a final boss count as a success? Let us know your thoughts.